Sarah had scoffed at the campfire tales, the hushed warnings of skinwalkers whispered under a canopy of stars. Just local folklore. She'd dismissed them, attributing the shivers down her spine to the crisp mountain air and crackling fire. Now, alone in the silent wilderness, miles from the nearest town, doubt gnawed at her like a hungry wolf. She'd chosen this secluded campsite for its tranquility, a haven carved from the dense pine forest. But now the silence screamed. No crickets chirped, no owls hooted. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath, waiting. Sleep wouldn't come, fear a cold fist around her heart. At the witching hour, a twig snapped. Adrenaline jolted her upright, but there was nothing, just the endless rows of dark, watchful trees. She tried to convince herself it was a deer, a bear, anything but the chilling possibility that gnawed at her mind. Then she saw it. A shadow detached itself from the darkness, moving with unnatural fluidity. Tall and gaunt, like a starved wolf stretched to human height. It was vaguely humanoid, yet wrong. Its skin, the color of aged parchment, stretched taut over its bones, seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Its eyes, burning embers in the night, held her captive. Panic was a wildfire in her chest. Before she could even scream, it spoke, its voice a dry rasp that scraped against her soul. "Lost, little one," it hissed, the words slithering out from somewhere deep and dark. Terror choked her voice. Who are you?" she stammered, backing away. "A friend," it chuckled, the sound devoid of warmth, like dead leaves crunching underfoot. "One who can show you the way out, forever." It lunged, faster than any human, faster than any creature she'd ever seen. She stumbled, her foot catching on a hidden root, sending her sprawling. The creature was upon her, its claws glinting in the moonlight. She closed her eyes, bracing for the end. But it didn't come. Instead, there was a sound, a rooster's crow, faint yet insistent, cutting through the oppressive silence. The creature froze, its head snapping towards the east. Dawn was bleeding onto the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and orange. With a guttural snarl, the creature recoiled, its form seeming to shrink, to fold in on itself. It took one last chilling look at her, its burning eyes reflecting an ancient hunger, then melted back into the shadows, vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. Sarah lay there panting, the taste of fear heavy in her mouth. The rooster crowed again, a triumphant sound that echoed through the clearing, dispelling the last remnants of the nightmare. But the terror clung to her like a second skin. She knew, with a bone-deep certainty, that the skinwalker was real. And she also knew it wouldn't be content with just one attempt. Panic urged her to flee, but something held her back, a morbid fascination mixed with a sliver of defiance. Driven by a strange compulsion, she followed the creature's tracks, deep into the heart of the forest. The trail led her to an abandoned cabin, its windows like empty eyes staring back at her. A shiver ran down her spine. This was its lair. She knew it without a doubt. Cautiously, she pushed open the creaking door. Inside, dust motes danced in the weak sunlight, filtering through cracks in the boarded windows. The air hung heavy with the smell of decay and something darker, something ancient. In the center of the room, a crudely drawn symbol was etched onto the floorboards, radiating an oppressive aura. It matched the markings found on livestock, killed by skinwalkers. The stories whispered around campfires had warned. Suddenly, a guttural growl echoed from behind her. The skinwalker stood in the doorway, its form solidifying from the shadows. Its eyes burned with hatred, a predator sizing up its prey. This time, Sarah wouldn't be caught off guard. She had seen its fear of dawn, its weakness to light. Grabbing a lantern from a dusty shelf, she lit it, the flames sputtering to life. The creature hissed, recoiling from the sudden burst of light. She knew it wasn't enough, not permanently, but it bought her time. She had to think, to find a way out. Her eyes caught on a rusty shotgun mounted on the wall, a relic from the cabin's past. Hope flickered within her. With a burst of adrenaline, she lunged for the gun, ignoring the creature's enraged screech. It lunged too, but she scrambled out of its way, the lantern crashing to the floor, plunging the room into darkness. Blind and desperate, she fumbled with the gun, fingers finally wrapping around the cold metal. A deafening crack split the air as she pulled the trigger, the blast illuminating the room in a fleeting flash. The creature staggered back, a dark stain blooming on its chest. It wasn't enough to kill it, she knew, but it bought her another precious moment. She stumbled towards the window, board by board ripping away with panicked fervor. Moonlight flooded the room, bathing the forest in an eerie glow. The creature advanced, wounded but undeterred, its eyes burning with an unholy hunger. Just as its clawed hand reached for her, Sarah flung herself through the shattered window, landing hard on the unforgiving earth outside. Rolling to her feet, she sprinted into the dense forest, the creature's enraged screeches echoing behind her. Thorns tore at her clothes, branches whipped at her face, but she didn't dare slow down. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent chills down her spine, but the memory of the burning eyes and needle-like teeth spurred her on. Dawn found her collapsed by a babbling stream, exhaustion and fear a heavy cloak around her. The rooster's crow, once a harbinger of terror, now sounded like a song of salvation. The Skinwalker wouldn't dare attack in the open, not with the sun as her shield. She stumbled back to civilization, forever marked by the encounter. The scoffs and disbelieving stares at her tale no longer mattered. She had seen the truth, had stared into the abyss and not been consumed. But the forest held a deeper secret now, a chilling reminder that some legends aren't just stories whispered around campfires. And every night, under the watchful gaze of the moon, she swore she could hear the faint echo of the Skinwalkers' enraged screeches, a chilling promise that their encounter wasn't over. The forest held its secrets close, and she knew with a bone-deep certainty that some wounds never truly heal.